Good morning, Big Square Road.com with your morning horn of Z's, your sip of coffee. All right, so now people people have been able to read through the Mueller report. Complete and utter bullshit. How did we know? Mueller and Comey were best friends. Come on. And everybody on the staff was out to get Trump. That was part of the plan. It is amazing that they didn't find anything, truthfully. But the most amazing thing is what it didn't say. It didn't even talk about the FISA. It didn't even talk about Fusion GPS. It didn't even talk about the crazy Fusion GPS lawyer, Russian lawyer who went to meet with Trump and they tried to get him on that. It didn't talk about the setup. It didn't talk about anything related to the absolute criminal activity of Mueller and all the people involved in this scam. And Trump's pissed, and now he can say he's being pissed. So he came out with some treats today. Trump on his Twitter, statements are made by me by certain people in the crazy Mueller report, in itself written by 18 angry Democrat Trump haters, which are fabricated and totally untrue, that statement is 100% correct. Watch out for the people who take so-called notes when the notes never existed until needed. Because I never agreed to testify, it was not necessary for me to respond to statements made in the report about me, some of which are total bullshit and only given to make the other person look good or me to look bad. This was an illegally started hoax that never should have happened. Absolutely. And then Kimberly Strausel, brilliant. Wall Street Journal article. Here's what she said. What's in the special counsel's findings is almost as revealing as what's left out. You get 2 years, a special counsel, 2 years to investigate and find the truth, and almost no truth came out about the people behind the scenes. How was Mueller ever going to write a report that implicated his friends and himself? It wasn't going to happen. I'm amazed that it came out and said, we're not going after you. I mean, I didn't even think Trump was that clean. I'm going to highlight some of this great article in the Wall Street Journal. It's time to buy a Wall Street Journal for this one. By the fall of 2017, it was clear that Special Counsel Robert Mueller, as former director of the FBI, was too conflicted to take a detached look at Russia collusion story that had become more about FBI malfeasance than about Donald Trump. The evidence of bias now stares at us through 448 pages of this report. President Trump has every right to feel liberated. What the report shows is that he endured a special counsel probe that was relentlessly and at times farcically obsessed with taking him out. What stands out is just how diligently and creatively the special counsel's legal minds worked to implicate someone in Trump's world on something Russian or obstruction of justice related, and how even all its overweening power and aggressive tactics, it still struck out. Volume 1 of the Mueller Report, which deals with collusion, spends tens of thousands of words describing trivial interactions between Trump officials and various Russians. While it doubtless wasn't Mr. Mueller's intention, the sheer quantity and banality of details highlights the degree to which these contacts were random, haphazard, and peripheral. By the end of Volume 1, the notion that the Trump campaign engaged in some grand plot with Russia is a joke. Yet jump to section where Mueller team lists its, quote, prosecution and declination decisions with regards to the Russian question, and try not to picture Mueller pitbull prosecutor Andrew Weissman collapsed under mountains of federal statutes after his 2-year hunt to find one that applied. Mr. Mueller's team mulled bringing charges for, quote, for the crime of conspiracy, either under statutes that have their own conspiracy language or under the general conspiracy statute. It debated going after him for defraud clause, which criminalizes participating in an agreement to obstruct a lawful function of U.S. government. It considered the crime of acting as an agent of a foreign government, helpfully noting that this crime does not require willfulness. Just insane. Just insane. They made the whole thing up. They spent 2 years. This was the grand plan of the Democrats. This was the grand plan of the deep state, is to get a special counsel to prove and cover up what was a set up plan to overthrow our government. These people need to be tried and found guilty and sent to death, if you ask me, for treason, 100% treason. And I think it's in the works. Anyway, here's more on that. For obstruction, Volume 2, Attorney General Bill Barr noted Thursday that he disagreed with some of the special counsel's legal theories. Maybe he had in mind Mr. Mueller's proposition that he was entitled to pursue obstruction questions, even though that was not part of his initial mandate from the Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein, who also is in on the plot. Or maybe it was Mueller's long description of what a prosecution of the sitting president might look like, even though he acknowledged its legal impossibility. Or it could be Mr. Mueller's theory that while fairness dictates that someone accused of crimes gets a speedy and public trial to clear his name, Mr. Trump deserves no such courtesy with regard to the 200 pages of accusations Mr. Mueller lodges against him. That is what Mr. Mueller's James Comey. That was Mr. Mueller's James Comey moment. Remember the July 2016 press conference in which the FBI director berated Hillary Clinton even as he didn't bring charges. It was a firing offense. Here's Mr. Mueller engaging in the same practice, only on a more inappropriate scale. At least this time, the Attorney General tried to clean up the mess by declaring he would not bring obstruction charges. Mr. Barr noted Thursday that we do not engage in grand jury proceedings and probes with the purpose of generating innuendo. Mr. Mueller may not care. His report suggests the actual goal of the obstruction volume is impeachment. Quote, we conclude that Congress has the authority to prohibit a president's corrupt use of his authority. Note as well that it isn't in the report. It makes only passing bland references to the genesis of so many of the accusations Mr. Mueller probed. The infamous dossier produced by opposition research firm Fusion GPS and paid for by the Hillary Clinton campaign. That's not in the report. How could that not be in the report? That is the central part of what they were investigating. How do you exonerate Mr. Page without delving into the scandalous Moscow deeds of which he was falsely accused? Yes, that was a setup, and he doesn't talk about it. How do you narrate an entire section of the July 2016 Trump Tower meeting without noting that Miss Vandaliska, that's the Russian GPS woman, was working alongside Fusion GPS? How do you detail every aspect of the Papadopoulos accusations while avoiding in any detail of the curious and suspect ways that those accusations came back to the FBI via Australians Alexander Downer? The report instead mostly reads as a lengthy defense of the FBI, of its shaky claims about how its investigation began, of its far-fetched theories, of its procedures, even of its leadership. That's basically what this report is. It's to get the FBI off the hook, which is complete bullshit. They're going to be tried for treason, including Mueller. One of the more serious concerns, Mr. Comey's firing. Mr. Mueller's team finds it generally beyond the realm of possibility that the FBI director was canned for incompetence or insubordination. It treats everything the FBI or Mr. Comey did as legitimate, even as it treats everything the president did as suspect. Straussel ends on a high note, taking aim directly at the man himself. Mr. Mueller is an institutionalist, and many of his team were the same Justice Department attorneys who first fanned the partisan collusion claims. He was the wrong man to provide an honest assessment of the 2016 collusion dirty trick, and we've all got a report to prove it. Very correct. Read that article. Read the entire article, Wall Street Journal. And here's a great cartoon, 2019 Easter egg hunt. Find the golden egg. They're dropping it from a Mueller report plane. They're dropping pages and eggs. This is what this is what is going to just consume the Democrats for the next 2 years, and it's going to get them nowhere. In the meantime, Trump and his team and the good guys are going to be putting out real indictments. Every time a Democrat comes up and says, oh, Trump did this, they're going to arrest another person who set that up. It's going to be epic. Epic. Hopefully something can get done in Washington while this comedy continues. I'm not so sure, though. I'm not so sure that anything can get done over the next couple years. Um, Although I do think a lot of people are going to be going to jail, and the United States of America is going to have to stand up and question everything about what our government has done and does, including the Trump administration. We should be questioning it. Obviously, he was hamstrung from day one. Will Obama go down? I surely hope so. He was knee deep in this. There was text. POTUS wants to know everything on every step of the way. This is just insane that this happened. But hopefully, we can start to see some movement now. I know it's been a long time. It's been forever. Trump could have ended this day one, but it would have been too chaotic. There are texts, supposedly, from FBI agents plotting how to assassinate Trump if he wins. We'll find out. And all they got to do is release Anthony Weiner's laptop. And Uma Abedin is the key. She was in charge because Hillary Clinton wasn't very computer savvy. Everything went through Uma Abedin, and she stored it in the cloud, the family cloud, onto Anthony Weiner's laptop. So if you want to see every single video, disgusting torture thing, including all the 33,000 emails of criminality, just crack open Anthony Weiner's laptop. It's all right there. The stupidity of these people was off the charts. Off the charts. I'm surprised Uma Abedin is still walking around and Anthony Weiner. But hey, it is what it is. And our government won't let you know the truth. Slowly, you're not ready for it. You're not adult enough to know the truth. Hopefully this will end. Anyway, I did want to say I do have a special Friday road trip that will be posted today. And it's about the future and where we're going with cryptos, where we're going with our economy, what happens if the system falls apart, and a bunch of other really cool stuff. So if you're interested in my thoughts on the future, go to roadtoruda.com and join the private road and get a silver coin and a Veri token. Veritasium is going to be the bomb. Absolutely 100%. I'm excited about it. It's just not time yet, but it will be. I mean, you look at these crazy exchanges and you're like, what are we going to do to get rid of these exchanges? Veritasium fixes the problem right away. Anyway, this is Big Square, roadtoruda.com. Give me a like and a thumbs up, and go to roadtoruda.com and sign up for the private road trip. I'll talk to you guys later.